Hello and welcome to the One People Show. Yes, I am recording. Hello and welcome everyone to this week's One People Roundtable with, I don't even know what to call it today, with Dee from Morocco, as usual. Once again, I have to turn Melvin's video off.
Do you want to start over?
Yep, that would be best.
Deborah, we're still working on the recording from last week. They've had massive electrical bizarro storms in Australia where the guys are. And so they're not, I know violent and funny, I can't help it. But it's kind of funny, strange, not funny, ha. I know that too. So it's okay, I've accepted that fact. Go ahead, start all over again, Lisa. I'll be good.
Hello and welcome everybody to this week's One People Roundtable show with a somewhat delirious Dee. And we have kind of one question, I think, that we want to cover off today, as well as a couple of the geopolitical events that are happening. But welcome, Dee.
Good morning, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. Go.
Be sure to tune in for the blooper reels.
For those who are part of the our live studio audience, you know what's been going on for the last 20 minutes. So, fun and games. Dee's in quite mood.
I'm just in a good mood. I'm allowed to play. I can be childlike if I want to, or childish, or something.
Or something.
So yeah, we had a good conversation last night. And I love synchronicities. When you have a conversation. So Lisa and Jeff Gates are awesome, Jeff. And Darius and I were having this conversation last night. We're on a bunch of different topics because we're setting up some new stuff for the new year that you're all going to like. And we get into a conversation about the whole alien thing, right? Like, you know, an alien invasion. We're talking about Hollywood, and of course the propaganda. Your Day, your alien movie, or Lost Angeles. You can't.
Yeah, we did lose you for a minute. You with alien films.
Yeah, alien films, and I'm sorry guys, my internet is shockingly poor today, apparently. So yeah, we talked about, you know, Hollywood and the crop of films that have been put out especially over the last 2 decades, that the aliens are coming, they're going to take over the planet, be afraid. And Jeff actually brings up the movie Independence Day because it's like your prime example of fear porn about aliens coming to the planet. I got up today, and there was a few other things in the conversation that were very interesting, that we were kind of looking at the flip side of stuff. And I got up today, and one of the first things I see is a video for the like the little short promo. Oh, they're making a second Independence Day. And I watch this, and it's like, oh my God, the American rhetoric, that the hardcore, just as bad as the first one, you know, today is our, you know, it was so bad. And then, so I'm sitting there going, that's so funny, you know, as we were just talking about that movie yesterday. Then comes up, someone posts, oh, come on, help me.
I can't help you.
Divergent. Well, the third movie in that. Can you hear me?
Allegiant.
Yeah. What's it called? Allegiance.
Allegiant.
Right. So it's from the Divergent series. And I watched that. And it is just like the 2-minute trailer. I was just shocking. Jaw on the floor. If you haven't seen it yet, just go to YouTube and punch it. It's called Allegiant.
The overwhelming, while your internet is doing what it's doing.
The trailer. And there's a scene.
Nice look.
I'm sorry.
While your internet's doing what it's doing, I'll take over for a second until it catches up. The overwhelming feeling for me is that we are being prepared. We are being so prepped for something, and it's all connected as far as I can tell. The Mandela effect, the flat earth, the themes that are coming out of Hollywood. I mean, if you just take the Divergent series, the Hunger Games series, and the Maze Runner, just those three alone, the three of the biggest sort of franchise films over the last couple of years, they're all set in this where people are placed in an environment, a created environment. They're trapped in a created environment. They somehow escape or discover the trap of the environment. And what's on the outside is not necessarily better than what's on the inside. 1 second, I'll take care of that. And one more. Okay. So the kind of message is always, no matter how bad you got it in here, it'll be worse out there.
Yep.
So now I keep thinking about also all of the dreams and visions and whether sleeping or waking that people have had over the last, I'll say 10 years, that I know of, just the people that I've spoken to directly, where there is this wall, this dome, this something. And this is long before any conversations around flat earth happened or whether or not we're in a dome. This is long before these films came out propagating this theme. People having these experiences where this environment becomes noticeable, it becomes seen, it becomes aware of, we become aware of it, and it breaks down. Now we're seeing these Mandela effect glitches. It's all connected as far as I'm concerned, but the Hollywood side of stuff and the propagation of all of these films and themes, to me, is trying to prep us for bad guys are coming. Whatever it is, be afraid. And what got brought up in the conversation last night, which is, I think, a really important point, is that with the terrorists, being so prolific right now, that whole meme, the reverse psychology of that, with the American government wanting to take your guns away and everyone going, not going to happen, fuck you. That's a reverse psychology thing. So everybody's hoarding all of their guns, refusing to give them up. Now, what happens if we do end up with some kind of disclosure or somebody turns up? You've got a heavily armed population who will use it against them because you've been prepped to be frightened of whatever shows up. And this all comes down to our consent too. If we, as a collective, say no to whatever shows up, then they can't go against our intent, whatever their intentions are. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, and that's it's so funny because, like you said, we're looking at it last night and you're going, okay, if you take the whole reverse psychology, which apparently is the only template they know how to play, really, is the reverse psychology game. and the whole, for example, in America, the pushing that we're going to take your guns away. They've been pushing that hard for a couple of years now. And in the last year, it has gone huge. And yet every single time, what happens instead? Everyone goes out and buys guns. Every time there's any little whispers that, oh, Congress is going to vote on gun control, et cetera, et cetera. And every single time, what happens? Everyone goes out and buys guns and ammunition, et cetera, to the point of, like, literally, I know people who have got enough artillery to arm a small army now. So, okay, first of all, gun manufacturers are making a fucking killer. So if you're in the an arms dealer, you know, like Colt or any of those big ones, you're making a killing at the moment. But it just gets to the point of ridiculous now, where, again, this Christmas, Black Friday, every gun shop on, like, across the United States sold out on guns and ammunition on Black Friday, right after the big false flag shooting. So you sit there and say, but they're not doing anything with it. It just seems like they're just pushing people to buy more guns. Why are they pushing people to, why are they, in essence, arming the public? Why are they arming the public? I mean, there's multiple fronts, like we've talked about, like, is it war? There's war coming, and they're just going to make Russians invade, or China. Oh, look, my internet sucks.
No, you're back.
That, you know, like the whole population is armed. Or if the aliens invade, you have a whole army of people with guns and munition who will sit there on the top of their house and shoot off mag after mag at the alien ships.
Oh, they really do want to get the country to self-implode and create civil war and get everybody shooting each other.
Yep.
But you're right, no, it does act as a, because they don't, like you said, they don't actually take any action.
No.
Guns away. It's just a lot of talk, a lot of fear mongering, and the result is everybody goes and arms themselves. So
exactly,
it didn't work that way here. Whether that was the intention. I mean, after Port Arthur that we talked about the other week, people, you know, the good law-abiding citizens, just all went and handed in their guns. It was a huge amnesty on it, and they all went and handed them in. Mind you, the average farmer does not need a semi-automatic or an AK-47 or, you know, to shoot a couple of kangaroos. You just don't. So the people who have that,
I didn't ever know an elephant gun might be handy.
So hang on, there's a couple of things happening in the chat room I probably should look at.
Oh, the chat room's going off.
Betsy said she's had the invasion dreams for years.
The whole thing.
If we don't have
now, but here's my question, Betsy: positive or negative?
Yeah, that was a good question.
Positive or negative? Because I've had several, and one of them in particular is still crystal clear to this moment, as the night that I had it back in 2011, to the point of I could even almost tell you what everything smelled like in the dream. And it was a very positive thing. At no point when I saw the ships in the dream, there was no fear. There was no, oh my God, they're coming. They're going to blow up the planet, steal our gold, and I don't know.
I honestly think
whatever. There was.
Sorry, if these guys are out there and they are as technologically advanced as we're supposed to believe they are, they could have wiped us out a long time ago. They've been coming to this planet for thousands of years. So
that's what I've always said.
Why? Jeff put it into the whole HK concept that if you when you step into the game of another, it's by their rules. You know, you play by their rules. So if they were to come here it would be by our rules. And if the rules of the collective intent are just fear mongering or fearful and warmongering, then that's what they'd be stepping into. If our intent is, our collective agreement is, no, go away, they'd go away. Would they not? Based on that, Jeff?
I mean, there's so many angles to look at that from, right? I mean, because I've actually said so many times exactly that as an example. If these guys are so advanced that they come back here every couple of thousand years and build pyramids and create entire religious structures and have flying ships and all the rest of it, if it was negative intent, i.e. we're going to steal all your gold or steal all the planet's water, they could just fucking do it. Unless, of course, there is a, let's call it universal law, if you will, of consent.
I'm actually not convinced they come here every couple of thousand years and build pyramids and things. I think that's all us. I actually think it was all us. But, which is why we were just Neanderthal thumping around in caves is the
okay. So
what?
Betsy just put a comment in here. Remember the War of the Worlds radio broadcast? You're right, Betsy. That is a clue. When did that happen? Does anyone know? Because I don't know what the exact date is. Does anyone
look it up?
Date when we originally did the radio show, the War of the Worlds? Was it before World War? It was 1939. That's what I thought. Right before World War II. Right before, I mean, World War II, there's all kinds of secret shit that went on during World War II. And of course, right after World War II, Roswell, all of that shit happened. So again, was that let's set an intent, let's get the people in a panic so it's a mass non-consent type thing?
Feels like to me. Because just to suppose, we've talked about resetting of cycles of time. Time's the other theme that's going on right now. And if all of these ancient cultures, I don't know why this keeps happening. If all of these ancient cultures were in fact us, and it keeps getting reset, and every time it gets reset, we get dumbed down even further and further and further. But these guys have been coming to this planet for a very long time, and they probably have the information of our true history.
Yeah.
And that's not something that some people would want known. And even if that is the only threat, that's a big one.
Well, sure, that's everything. It's geopolitical, it's religious, it's everything, right? I mean, that encompasses all of it. But I want to throw another piece into that. So take that the next step forward. So in the new Divergent movie, the third Divergent movie, again, Lisa, it's called Allegiant. There we go. There's a scene where they come, there's the big wall, massive mountain wall that surrounds, Chicago. And why is it always Chicago? That's always my thing that keeps coming up. Why is it always Chicago? And why did the mayor of Chicago just resign? Just interesting. Just my thoughts. They're climbing down the wall to the outside world. And they're running through, and it's like destroyed wasteland, everything. And you can see them running, and it looks like, just the horizon going on. And all of a sudden, literally, there's a parting. And you can see little dolls floating everywhere that obviously are holding like a holographic net in place. And it pulls apart to allow them to come through. And there's this military all on the other side saying, it's okay, you're safe now. It's okay, you're safe now. But the actual scene Where from their perspective, as they're running across the landscape, it just looks like a continuous landscape. And then all of a sudden, it's like a holographic curtain opens, and there's the other side. And the one guy, the commander or whatever of the military, says to them, it's been an experiment. We've been running an experiment for 200 years. So first of all, the people inside have no idea that this experiment, that A, they're a part of an experiment, that everyone on the outside world has been watching this experiment as like the ultimate live TV reality show, i.e. a la Truman. And time has no meaning. They don't even know that they've been in there for, it's been 200 years. And the outside world is so massively advanced with flying ships and advanced armaments, et cetera, et cetera. So time has become irrelevant too. We have, again, that parting of a veil that shows that everything's been sealed in, however you want to call it, whether it's a dome, whether it's a veil, something sealed in.
Or the veil on our consciousness.
Experiment.
It could just represent the veil on our consciousness rather than a physical environment.
But then let's go look at this. Is all just a computer simulated reality.
Okay, I've got a question, because if this is true, I may vomit. Doesn't this sound exactly like what the Sphere Being Alliance goes on about? Because I have absolutely no clue what they go on about. I do not.
I have no idea. What?
Does anyone follow that stuff and could confirm what they're saying?
Oh, that's just really, really bad.
They're all about deranged, co-opted people. What? People. Oh. People.
Okay, that's interesting, because I don't follow any of the Sphere Alliance stuff whatsoever. So.
A ton of movies stating that we are just a grand experiment. Absolutely.
Okay, okay. Is that from the Sphere Alliance through American Kabuki's site that has been channeled by Denise? Is that information?
Denise. Actually, well, here's a question. Hang on. Did Corey Good and Denise say the same stuff? The same kind of information that's supposed to be coming from Sphere Alliance, or do they say different things?
I don't follow either.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. David Epic Wilcock is big on the Sphere Alliance. Yes, Corey Good as well. Okay.
Yeah, that's just bizarre. Because I've been using the terminology about it all being a big experiment for since 2013. That's been something that I've always talked about, is this is all just a fucking experiment. Because that's what resonates with me, is that this is all just a fucking experiment. Now, I didn't get back in 2013 when that first came to me exactly to what experiment this seems to be.
Didn't hear a word of that.
Yeah. No. I said I didn't get back in 2013 what the depth of this experiment seems to be. But
and the Ascension TV series ends up as an experiment as well.
Does it really? Really?
Okay, I'm trying to figure out where that came from. Don't know.
So here's the thing. Look at it from the negative, i.e., from just the theory that all this propaganda is being put out is the negative people. So, for example, Maze Runner and the Divergent series, when they get outside the dome, it's way worse outside the dome. oh no, it's terrible, world is destroyed in nuclear chaos and it's anarchy, you want to go run back inside the dome. I.e., consent to forgetfulness, consent to doing the cycle all over again, be afraid of what's outside, be afraid of the aliens coming. And yeah, it comes back to what you said, Lisa, about the fact that they're prepping us for something.
Guys, if any of you want to come out and talk, just put your hand up for me and I will unmute you.
Yep.
If you have a comment or anything to add to this. We've talked over the years about these periods where you get this internal feeling of expectation. Like something's growing and something big is about to break. And
yep.
I've been feeling that a lot lately, and certainly there have been things that have happened in my personal life that felt like they matched, you know, that's what that feeling was about. But underlying all of that, there's this bigger feeling that something on a grander scale that's beyond just my personal life is unfolding right now. And it's this feeling of expectation, anticipation, yeah. And oh God, I remember, this is going back to 2012 probably, having a conversation on air, one of the shows, and we were having a talk about December 2012, I think, so it must have been leading up to that. And what, you know, expectations, and I said that for as long as I can remember, from the time I was tiny, there's been this feeling of expectation. And the only thing that could match that feeling, that would make me go, that's what I've been waiting for all these years, is something so incredibly friggin' paradigm shifting, earth shattering, that it would be seeing the dome and being able to walk through it. It would be something of that scale, or motherships turning up. It would have to be something that epic to meet this feeling of expectation that I've had all my life. That I'm waiting for something. Has anybody got their hand up?
Christ. Well, Zahn just said something, and it's so funny because he just said it, nailed it right. Exactly what I said to you just before the show. That he said, I think this is 2012. 2015, the 5 upside down is a 2. And I just said to you, and it was back in September 2012, I read an article. And, you know, I have looked for this article again. I have searched for this article again, and I can't find it. And the guy who wrote the article said, don't get all hyper on this whole December 21st, 2012 stuff, because it's not going to happen, because it's not 2012. And he goes on to discuss the changeover to the Julian calendar and to the Gregorian calendar, and the fact that several years were lopped off. And that I remember at the time, he claimed that it was 2015 was the actual 2012 from what he could track from the years that had been canceled out, literally canceled out by the Vatican when they reset the calendar. And I just laughing because
No, she's not back. I'll just let it go for a second. Okay, yes, you can just come
2012 is now, because really.
Okay, hand up for mic only, says Sheila. Okay. All right, Sheila, you're unmuted.
Hey guys, how are you this evening?
Good, darling.
Hi, Sheila.
Just doing well. I remembered after I said that about Corey Good that back during the summer, I had read some of the American Kabuki stuff. Denise was channeling that they were in the process of collecting information, but that they had stopped the experiments on Earth, supposedly. So those two supposedly tie together, but they don't for some reason, Corey Good doesn't recognize Denise and all that. I take in all information for puzzle pieces, but I don't necessarily buy any of it. I suspect that there's little bits and pieces of truth in almost everything. So I try to, wherever I'm driven to go, I go. So I thought I'd add that.
Thank you.
Jeff just made a comment, if I can jump in for 2 seconds. He said, so we've just spent 3 years of reveals and letdowns so that we don't expect December 21st, 2015. No, we're not doing the date thing. We are not doing the date thing. Fuck that shit. But yeah, that's the one thing I've said. There's been continuous date. Set your hopes, so that now no one believes any dates. And no one believes it'll ever happen. Whatever it is, it just won't happen because, you know, it's all bullshit. It's all a crock of shit. Yet we're watching the propaganda. We're watching Hollywood. We're watching the governments. We're watching this shit play out. And it's obvious that they're leading up to something. I'm saying for the last year, when you watch the news, not a week has gone by that there hasn't been an article about NASA, new discovery on this planet, new discovery on that planet. Oh, we're going to do a special mission here.
Well, we've got a duplicate Earth, didn't we? Didn't we find one that was almost a...
Oh yeah, we found a planet that's just like Earth. We found another planet. We found a whole system of planets that are just like Earth. Non-stop. Now, I mean, I follow the news because that's what I do. And there's never been a year like this before. This has been continuous articles about aliens, continuous articles about things like, oh, floating cities in the sky on the mainstream news. So it propagates the whole fear porn about, oh, well, Bluebeam. I mean, hell, the 2 London articles both mention Project Bluebeam by name. So if even someone hasn't heard of it, they're going to go look it up. So if something was to happen, you know, say like aliens appeared, like motherships or something like that, they've already prepped out everyone on the planet. Oh, no, it's Project Bluebeam. You're not going to believe in it. Oh, it's Project Bluebeam. I don't consent. Right?
A couple of things going on in the chat room.
Yeah.
2017 became the new 2012. Right?
Yes.
Shortly after 2012. But like Linda in the chat room, Linda B, has said she's felt 2017 for quite some time, since the 90s. Lily Earth, when she first came out, said the same thing, 2017.
And then Lily changed it
Lily
at the
said,
beginning of 2015 when she gave us that call and was like, holy fuck, something just happened in 2017, just became 2015.
yeah.
Cracked me right up. Such an awesome conversation.
Which
You know, I
deals
wanted
with
to ask you
nothing.
something, Lisa.
Sorry?
I wanted to ask you because I had put this in the chat room, but it seems significant. All the talk about time and the changing of time from one year to the next, it made me think of your interview during Tug with Colin Hayter
Ah.
and the Gosford Glyphs. And if that had anything at all, or could have anything at all to do with what we're seeing, because my God, time seems to be a huge thing right now too. Not just the Mandela effect, but you know, when I saw the trailer that Jeff had put out for Allegiant, the very next trailer that came up was the new Alice Through the Looking Glass, and that's completely about time.
Time. Yes. And I said
also
that.
the other film, what's it called? Matthew McConaughey. I watched it only again the other day. You know, where they're going to different planets and time, they talk about time and gravity. Time is gravity, gravity is time. And they spend like an hour on a planet, but interstellar. And, you know, like 60 years past somewhere else. You know, how relative, or that's how, yeah, relative, I guess, it is. And it's another, again, you're right, it's another big theme. And it's not just that it's a theme that's being propagated by the media, we're all actually experiencing time anomalies in our own personal lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Someone completely lost their shit on Facebook the other day. I think it was in the Unfuckers room about realizing it was Thursday. You know, like to know, to be so certain that you know the day of the week, and to find out you actually lost a day, completely lost a day. This isn't just, oh, is it Saturday or Sunday? This is feeling like losing a day. I had a day like that the other day where time just kept slipping. I was losing hours. I had 3 things I needed to do at certain times throughout the course of the day, and I missed all 3 of them. And it's kind of bizarre. I feel like the memes around it are trying to give us an explanation for it, but not necessarily an accurate one.
It's a spin. It's like
spin, yes.
It's a distractional spin. And there's so many things. For Lisa and I talked about today earlier, and I said about the same thing about the AI stuff coming out. Right now, everyone is talking about AI.
Yeah. Oh, that was weird.
He's muted for some reason.
You muted. You are muted.
Hi, I'm back. Yeah, that was really weird. Everything just closed. I don't know what you guys heard. I was just saying about, and now Lisa's gone. Okay.
I'm here, but I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Sheila, tell me what was they just talking about when I disappeared? Quick, remind me.
I'm sorry. You kind of went
It's gone.
You went robo voice on me. Say it again.
I don't even remember what it was.
Oh. Well, I noticed that it was kind of weird that last week you guys were talking about the difference of maybe we're in a simulation or we find out we're in a dome-like situation or a prison-like situation. And I toyed with putting this in the Unfuckers room, and I didn't. I kind of wish I had now, but I had a very, very disturbing dream last week. I don't normally remember my dreams. And so when I wake up remembering a dream, really remembering it, and I had physical pain from something that happened in the dream, that to me is very significant.
Yes.
In this dream, I was in some sort of a prison type situation, not like with bars and whatnot. It was like I referred to it as an open air prison. It was a neighborhood, but I knew I was in prison, but I was free to walk around type of thing. And for some reason, I had the feeling that I was in a group that was making preparations to get out or to help everyone escape. And all at once, I was accosted, well, not accosted, but I was touched on the arm by a stranger who didn't say a word, but could see in my mind somehow. And didn't say anything, but looked to what I then found was a larger person behind me. And they grabbed me up, and the next thing I knew, I was in a true type prison situation. And it was the grabbing up that caused pain in my ribs. And I was in pain the entire day. So it was an odd situation that I've never had before. And so, I mean, I don't know, but it was kind of odd that just happened to me last week. I don't usually remember my dreams, so.
You just reminded me, I had a dream last night, and I haven't been remembering my dreams either. And this one was graphic. There was so much blood and gore. It was really, really graphic. And I was in I don't know what it was. It was some kind of building, but there was a couple of stories to it. And it felt like I was escaping from this thing, whatever it was. I was with a group of people on the top floor. Then there was lots of big machinery around, but not, when I say machinery, it was pretty high-tech stuff. There was a hole in the ground that had been, through the battle of trying to get out of here, a hole had opened up on the floor. The bad guys were on the next level down. We were going to go down through the hole, but saw them on the next level. Then they shot up some kind of bomb or something. It exploded right there around where we were all standing. And I saw somebody, it was actually a woman from the Hunger Games films. It was her. In the new film, the latest one, the last one, Catching Fire, she, in the second half, if you've seen it, the final film, she's got the bald head. She was one of the victors who had been held in the Capitol, and they rescued her along with some of the others, and she's got the shaved head. It was her, but she had been blown in half. So from the waist down, she was gone and being dragged by somebody else. And it was straight out of a horror film. It was straight out of a gory film. There was so much blood. And it was just like your entire body's worth of blood was just pouring out. There was blood everywhere. I've never had a dream that was so graphic, horrifically, gorily graphic. I woke up straight away and was just left with these images, and it was just like, what the hell was all that about? I actually felt, like you just said, you could still feel physical things. I felt like my body was still shaking from the blast.
Yeah, I just, I remember once in the actual prison type situation stating, "Oh, I do not consent to this." And then I woke up. So yeah, exactly. It was the freakiest thing that I was like, I was thinking it was a dream, but then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, I don't consent to this. So I don't know, it was just kind of wild, like I said.
I kind of love that you're even not consenting in your sleep. That's
That's the way to go. I do not fucking consent, even when I'm asleep.
That was the only thing I could think to do. I mean, honestly, it was the only thing I could think to do.
No, I mean, I've had those dreams as well, where I've gone through a major battle type scene and woken up physically sore the next day. And there was one in particular that was crazy, because I woke up the next day and my left arm, my bicep down into my elbow and my forearm were like in agony, as if I pulled every freaking muscle. And you sit there and you walk around going, why is my arm so sore? I have done, and then all of a sudden I thought back, and there was a sequence in the dream where I killed a guy. Someone was trying to attack me, and I reached out with my arm and I got him in the headlock and just snapped his neck. And when I actually replayed the motion, standing up, I went, wait a second, I went, holy fuck, it was all the muscles that I would have used to have actually done that action were the muscles that were sore in my arm.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then, if you don't mind. I'm sorry, it's y'all's show, but
no, it's not. It's everyone's.
It's everyone's show.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that. So the question then for me becomes, because I've heard others talk about this, there's a thought that we're multidimensional beings, and sleep in this dimension is not necessarily what we at this point believe it is, and that the remembering of dreams is actually a different part of our dimensional self.
Mm-hmm.
And so that then Okay, so by the shaking of both of your heads, I would take it that you pretty much feel that that could be a possibility. Is that correct?
Oh, I wouldn't say possibility. I'd say probability.
We've also had
Yeah.
experiences where we've done things in our sleep, and there has been the physical evidence of that
Yep.
in this reality. And this is stuff that Dee and I have done together.
Bruises.
Um,
Yep. Cuts that have appeared. Bruises.
Really?
yeah.
Oh yeah. Many, many, many times. Yep. Sean, I've woken up with burns.
One of the things that drew the people that came together in the beginning of 2013, which we've talked a little bit about, but not much publicly, is that shortly after we all met, we were having these very strange experiences. So, for example, I don't know, Dee had obviously exactly the same stuff going on. You know, I would get up at my time, you know, here in Australia in the morning. I'd get my kids to school, I'd do all that stuff, I'd get online, it'd be like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, ready for the day, all of that sort of thing. And suddenly I can't stay awake. And it's not like I feel tired. This is,
Yep.
I'm almost,
Comatose.
consciousness is being pulled. I'm being pulled out of my body or pulled into something. And there were more than one occasion where the 20 feet it would take me to get to my bed was almost too far. And I would just collapse asleep on the bed. I would then have an experience where I used to call it the war room was the place that I usually showed up in. And there'd be different people there, but it looked like the war room in a film. You know, it'd be a big oval desk, and there would be anything from one high military commander, or it might be, the room might be full, and it would be military, guys in suits, every kind of ET you've ever heard of, angels.
Now, wait a minute, Lisa, I gotta ask you something. You're saying it would be a big oval table.
Yep.
Oval, not horseshoe shaped.
No, solid oval table.
Okay. Okay.
And there would be these intense meetings, and I used to call myself the glorified secretary because
No,
every
it's
single...
noble.
Sorry? What was that? You glitched.
I just never, my internet's glitching at the moment. I'm laughing about the oval table because we've seen it so many times.
Yeah, I used to call myself the glorified secretary because it seemed that one of my roles was to have, I would just have my arms up to here, stacks of folders and files that were being referenced. But at the same time, I played two roles, glorified secretary and kind of bodyguard. I don't know what word really, but Dee and I would always be the two bodyguards at the front.
Of whom, if you don't mind my asking?
Of Heather.
Okay.
Right. So
it's kind of strange that you're telling me it's like that because now I'm going to go back to the Spear Alliance.
oh, I know.
And that's why I asked, because for every delegate, supposedly, to this Galactic League of Nations type thing where all these different species are at, there is always at least 2 in attendance for each delegate.
Well, these experiences used to happen a lot. And then I would, because this would be nighttime for these guys, you know,
Oh yeah.
in the Northern Hemisphere. It'd be in the middle of the morning for me. And it could happen in the middle of the morning, it could happen in the afternoon, it could happen whenever. But I'd wake up and I'd start to put in the Skype room that we were all in what had just happened. And these guys would let me know that they would just, same thing happened. They've just woken up from a dream and they're telling it from their perspective and feeling it, you know. There was even one occasion where I was in...
You guys weren't even on the same continent.
No.
At that point, Sheila, we had never even met in person.
No, this was
That was
literally
before we
within
met in
weeks of
person.
being introduced to each other. So this is why
Oh, wow. Okay.
it became such. This is why we became so close. Was because we were talking every day, and we were having these experiences pretty much every day. Then there was things that we were actively and consciously doing in a meditative state or a dream state. There was even one occasion, which is what really allowed my partner at the time to go, something really is going on here. I don't talk in my sleep. Never have. But there I was, and it was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm gone. And apparently I was, and in my dream state, I was in a battle. Dee and I were kicking ass. And I was talking in my sleep, and he came in and asked me and tried to wake me and said, "Are you okay?" And I remembered the feeling. It was it was so surreal. This feeling of being pulled out of the scene and back into my body. But I didn't open my eyes. I didn't want to open my eyes because I knew I'd break it. And I just went, "I'm not done yet," and went straight back in. It scared the shit out of him. And so these are the sort of things that happened. This is why we became so close. This is why we gave so much investment, so much credit to the people involved. Because
And you had not met Heather at that point either, correct?
none of us had met each other at this point. So whatever was going on here was big for each of us personally, you know.
Yeah.
It's why we all wanted to meet in person. It's why we went to Morocco in, what was it, May of 2000?
May of 2013. Yeah.
And different people came in, you know. But for me, in those experiences, the ones who were always there that I could see were Heather and Dee. Every now and then there'd be Brian or Bill or somebody else.
Have either of you ever seen what Corey Good looks like?
No. Is anyone? Does he put his face out there?
Yes, he does. And for just because I'm a puzzle piece collector, and that's what I've decided to call myself, and because you two have had these experiences, I'd be interested to know if he looks familiar to you.
I'm going to have to look him up and see, I guess. Very good.
Apparently the first...
For me, Lisa, and there goes my internet. Am I back?
Yeah.
No? Oh, okay. For me, I don't, there's a few people that I always see, i.e. Lisa, I always see Lisa, even before we met. A lot of other times, it's not seeing, it's more of an energetic recognition. And it's like not until you meet someone, and we have a very good friend of ours, our good friend up in Manchester. And the very first time I met him face to face, it was like, "Hi," and he had no clue, and I was just like, "It's okay, I know you," and I knew him. And it wasn't until after he'd been around for a couple of weeks, and he started to talk a little bit about some of the shit that was going on in his dreams, and he came out and he told me a story of something. He was like, "I saw you in one of my dreams a couple of months ago. I know it was you," and I was like, "Yeah, we actually do work together a lot." And he laughs. And so now all the time we'll chat and we'll be like, "Hey dude, what the fuck happened last week?" And he'll be like, "Oh, so."
Okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take over your show. I'll be quiet.
No, not at all.
Well, I mean, it really led to so many more questions. Like you'd said, Lisa, that you didn't remember your dreams very much anymore. So something happened for that to stop now, or?
The last, throughout 2013, 14, and now 15, there has been so many changes in me personally, so many periods of, it's like chapters of different books. It's about what I'm capable of, what I can do, what then, it's like this cluster. It might be dreams and having those kinds of experiences where I know I'm working when I'm not awake. Then that stops, something else starts. You know, the whole Christmas Day thing, that was a whole other experience that lasted 3 months. That took me into a completely different place that I'd never been before, but it eventually wore off. Sometimes there is these real lulls in between where I feel quite numb or even dead spiritually, you know, because nothing's going on.
Yep.
And then
Would it be fair to say maybe that you were integrating that portion of yourself and therefore no longer needed for it to be active? Because I've seen some of your other shows where you thought that, you know, and DU as well, where timelines were collapsing or whatever. I'm just, again, trying to fit puzzle pieces together. It kind of sounded a little like maybe that might have been it.
Well, here's something. In 2013, there were several groups of us, and sometimes it was like, there were small pocket groups. There was like a bit larger group. So Lisa and I were in the larger group who were working together and doing various things energetically, if you want to call it that. And then you had smaller groups that were doing specific projects. Of all the people that I've worked with during that time, almost everyone has gone through the same thing that Lisa and I have gone through, of like, all of a sudden you don't remember the dreams, other than very specific ones that make you go, oh shit, okay, I'm supposed to remember that one. And for me, and I've had 3 or 4 other friends of mine say the same thing, the ability to go out and take a look around, astral, some people call it astral travel, whatever you want. To be able to go out of your business is almost completely locked down, gone. There's like a break. It's like you come up against a wall, you get out, and what you see is I get glimpses. I see a picture. I see a couple of seconds. I did, you know, the conversation I had with you and Darius the other night. Darius and I went through this another sequence that we've done before. And same thing, I independently went out and looked, and I got a glimpse of a building that I've seen multiple times now. And he and I, in the same 24-hour period, saw the same building, saw the fact that it was empty, now that the people who usually are there were not there. All there were was just caretakers inside. But it's like glimpses now. Instead of being able to go out and for very long periods of time interact, do things. And it seemed to me that at around the summer of 2014, autumn 2014, is when that seemed to start closing off for a lot of people.
And if you want to actually have a little play with this,
and I've talked to a lot of people, and I have no.
Hang on, sorry, I cut in because your internet.
Okay, go ahead.
If you want to have a play with this,
yeah,
the great exercise and a great sort of practice is to, with or without telling another person, but if you know somebody's routine, if you know that they will be at home at a certain time or at work or in their car or whatever, at that time, project yourself to them. And you can do it in such a way that the person will go, or they might ring you sort of suddenly go, I don't know why, but you just popped into my head. Or even, I swear to God, I just saw you walk through my living room. It can be, you know, anything. But that's, to me, that's the best way to practice. Is when you know someone, where their whereabouts is at any one time. And one of the things, this is related in a way.
Lisa doesn't know it, but a lot of times when I'm waiting for her to wake up, I was saying Lisa doesn't know this, but a lot of times when I'm, waiting, yeah, when I literally go and see Lisa and be like, Lisa, get up, wake up, would you just wake up? I got to tell you something. I don't know if she gets those messages though.
Oh, she does sometimes. She wakes up going, Dee, I have to tell Dee something. And then I get there and there's a message.
Yeah.
You want to see some freak out, yeah. It does. Oh, Chris just said, holy cow, I just had a flashback to a dream I got. Funny feeling Danny was the instructor.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, there's, okay, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this because it is funny as all hell. And since we're on this fucking subject anyway, apparently there is a me, and this is where one of those things where I keep coming back to the idea of fractals, that we all have our.
Oh, you really going to go here? Ah, that's funny.
I just because he said it, I can't. Chris brought it up. I have to bring it up. I'm sorry. It's really, really funny, and because John made that comment that one.
Well, Lauren, while she's kind of wigging out there with her internet,
and multiple others, and I don't.
She can't hear you when she's doing that because it cuts back in. Sorry, go ahead.
I can hear you guys.
Let's share.
I guess I wanted to ask Dee real quick before she finished that thought. Aren't fractals kind of the same thing as multidimensional, or no? Is that something different?
I hope it's something different, and when I tell you the story, you'll understand why. So apparently there is another D who looks just like me, except that she's a fucking bitch. She has no sense of humor. No, she is. Come on. And I don't know if DW is in the room because DW knows. Yeah, she's a real bitch. And she is an officer on a fucking starship somewhere. And I've had multiple people, I had this bizarre dream, and there was this chick, and I was talking to this, it was like I was on a spaceship, and I swear you were there. It was you, but it wasn't you, because she wasn't, and they all tried, everyone, DW, the first time we had this conversation, she was all trying to be very nice and kind of like, well, she wasn't really like you. And I was like, yeah, she was a bitch, wasn't she? And
RD, you are just wigging out.
Yeah, she was. Well, I'm sorry. Oh, apparently they know this is where we were going to talk about these subjects, right? What was the last thing you heard me say?
Well, that multiple people who have these kinds of experiences, whether it's dreams or visions or whatever of being on spaceships, often run into alternate D. And she is a bitch. She's real military, kind of, she follows orders, follows the rules.
Follow the fucking rules, will not break a rule, no fucking sense of humor. That bitch, I tell you, I just want to slap her.
So this sounds an awful lot like that Denise was talking about on American Kabuki, and I've seen some other things that they've talked about over there back in the summer when I was reading them off and on, that's what they were talking about, exactly that there were other, they didn't use the term fractals, but they did state that they were separate beings and yet the same. That's why I thought, well, maybe multidimensional or somehow, but yes, there were those that were crew members aboard different ships, and they were given the names of the ships and whatnot, and that they were different and yet connected to others on Earth. So it just sounds a bit, like I said, kind of.
I refuse to accept that she's a fractal of mine. And the last time because I used to actually back in 2013, actually before, it was one of those things that was in, you backtrack dreams and you realize I've actually been dreaming about this one or this other part of me since I was a teenager. I've had dreams of being on the spaceship, being this other me. And then I started interacting with her. And the last time we kind of had an argument, it didn't go very well for her. So I haven't spoken to her since. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry. There's some funny stuff in the chat room. Somebody brought out former white hat.
Yep.
Former White Hat is the one that said that I was a clone, that I was replaced by my clone, and then my clone was murdered as well, and now I'm nothing more than a CGI program, and he knows this because he knows me personally. That's Former White Hat, but I'm pretty sure the guy behind Former White Hat is actually a military dude based in Newcastle who happens to be Kerry Cassidy's handler. That's what I think. Hence the green screen. Hence the green screen, guys, because I'm not actually here. I'm just part of the program.
Yeah, you think that because we're doing.
I can't hear it. You're the CGI program right now. Then you're
I'm sorry.
And the other thing,
Max Headroom thing going on there.
yeah, it is. And on the Corey Good or Sphere Alliance stuff, I mean, it's like the Wilcox and the Keenans and the Fulfords and stuff, you know. I mean, you just have to look at what they say about you, and then it's like, okay, well, now I know you're full of shit. So to call me ISIS or whatever, is it whatever character I'm supposed to be? I can't take anything they say seriously after that.
Yeah.
You know?
Someone called you ISIS?
Yeah.
Lisa? Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
Sphere Alliance. Right?
The goddess ISIS. The goddess ISIS. Not the guys
Oh,
who
I'm
were
not a terrorist group.
Oh, no, I got that. I knew what you said. I figured that part, but I just, and who said this, if you don't mind my asking, part of the puzzle piece collecting there?
Sphere Alliance via Denise.
Yeah. And I'm Joan of Arc. It's true.
Oh, well, you know, Heather's supposed to be the one, so.
She's the one, the event. She's Mary Magdalene. You were actually quite a few characters. You were Genghis Khan.
Yes, I was also Genghis Khan. That's right.
And Joan of Arc.
And Joan of Arc. Yeah. And Mary Queen of Scots, which is actually the funny one, but I'm not even going to get into that.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's why I haven't looked at it since. It's like, how do you take any of that shit seriously?
Well, I have been, and I'm sorry to ask so many questions, but I guess, you know, if you don't mind, otherwise I'll mute myself and be quiet.
No, you're good.
Well, I guess I'm kind of, because again, puzzle piece collector here, and I do follow all of the folks that have been mentioned with the exception of the American Kabuki. I kind of quit looking at that. Again, just to kind of keep up with it. And I was following Sasha Stone. Is it at all possible, do you ladies think, that these people start out with good intentions and either are co-opted or were perhaps mind controlled to begin with and then co-opted? Or, because this has been my thoughts, as each and every one of them, along with you, have all served to help wake me up to a lot of different possibilities. And so I wondered.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is why when we came out about our concerns about the ITNJ, we did not and had no intention of attacking Sasha personally, because this wasn't about that. This was about the ITNJ specifically and how it appeared to be co-opted. Because I have no proof that Sasha is a bad guy with bad intentions and just trying to create another diversion and another trap. I don't know that. I think that the ITNJ may well have been co-opted to become that, but that doesn't.
Right, and I will tell you that my thoughts were exactly that. And the same with, because I kind of peeked in at the OPPT when it first started and was following that at first and thought, oh, how cool, and then got a feeling and kind of said, oh, I don't think so, and walked away from that. And I'm starting to get the same feeling about some of the Wilcox stuff just recently here. But I guess because he played a very large role for me, I've followed it a little longer, because I still think that there's information that could sneak out there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I mean, that's why I kind of pay attention to it all. But okay, I'll be quiet now.
No, listen, even in disinformation, there's information. That is how the template runs. The only way you can maintain an audience is to give them some truth. Because if you don't give them some truth, sooner or later, they all walk away because they'll go, full of fucking bullshit. That's what even well-known disinformation sites, i.e. Source Fail, I watch and I listen to and I read because, yes, it's CIA disinformation. We know that. But they also put out really big fucking pieces of the puzzle. And it's a matter of discerning between the bullshit disinformation and picking out the truth. All of these guys, and we had this conversation in the Unfuckers room, I think last week. These guys, they all serve a purpose. Alex Jones, your David Wilcox, all of these, David Icke, all of these guys, they serve a purpose. They've woken up. Thousands of people.
Ooh. Dee's program is glitching big time.
Yeah, I'd see that.
We may be about to
Have woken up to our personal choice as to whether we're going to stick in or not. Am I back?
Yeah.
No, am I back?
We
This is
kinda-
just getting ridiculous. I just want to say for the record. Yeah, so I mean, like, it's your personal choice of every person. You can stay in Alexis Jones' fear, porn, anger, get mad at the world, or you move beyond it. But he still serves a purpose. All of these guys do. So yeah, I mean, David Wilcox, I used to love his stuff. His Financial Tyranny series, fucking brilliant. Woke up a shitload of people.
Yeah, you're right about that. Sure.
It
did.
served a purpose. And so do I follow David Wilcox anymore? No. He doesn't, his stuff doesn't interest me.
I don't know whose ad's referring to, but he serves the purpose of telling us what constipation sounds like.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know if you're referring to Alex Jones or
Yeah, Alex Jones.
or Mr. Epic. Yeah, Alex Jones. Okay.
Well, someone just,
No, Mia, no, because that means you just stuck with my face. No.
that's right. And Lisa's like, no, you're not doing that to me. Fuck that shit.
No.
I could wear a fancy face. Do you want me to put on a fancy face? I can put on one.
Oh, she's dying to play with that program again.
No, I'm gonna be good. They've got a real good werewolf one though. I thought that would be fun to play, but I'll be good. No, so anyway, someone just brought up in the chat room AI. That's where I was going when I glitched out in my brain. Why?
Oh, just stop talking.
Wiped my hard drive again. Everyone is. See, Lisa,
Yes.
this is 3 times I've tried to make this statement. 3 times I've tried to say this. And every single
let
fucking
me
time.
try.
Okay, go with the AI.
Okay, I didn't actually know what you were going to say, but apart from the fact that it's a huge distraction.
It is. It is. Everyone's talking about fucking AI, and I'm gonna talk about this because it was so funny. Back in August, Lisa and I did the Tug Symposium on AI, and it was everyone applauded. They were like, "This was the best. It was awesome. It was fantastic," and we got a bunch of feedback that filtered through various channels. And the morning after, Lisa and I sat there together and went, "Oh fuck, what have we done?
What have we done?" Yep.
What have we done?" And literally, that was our words, because the channels, the information was coming back from channels we knew we didn't trust.
And it was full of praise that we'd done a great job, and it was like, oh, what agenda did this play into?
Not good. And when we did something that we shouldn't have done.
We honestly
I'm not happy
felt
about
like
this.
we
I
played
shouldn't
into
say.
it.
For the record.
That was the bottom
Yeah.
line. And so we, as you may have noticed, haven't really gone back there.
Nope.
Alfred's done, as mentioned in the chat room, several symposiums and roundtable discussions on the subject. Harold Klaus Wheeler seems to have lost the plot shortly after that symposium that we did, according to people who are close to him. He and Kara sort of parted professional ways and personal ways, as far as there's something around this whole Bradley left the building. Exactly. What the hell's that about?
There was a whole lot of shit that played out.
There was a lot of stuff going on there with Bradley and the whole AI thing. It's a distraction. And it's all connected to what we were talking about right at the beginning of the show. This whole Mandela effect, flat Earth, these memes, and AI.
It is a fucking distraction. And I've watched people who had never spoken about AI, never mentioned AI, have all of a sudden, since August, September, become obsessed with AI. And all they write about, all they talk about, it comes up in every conversation, AI this, AI that, blah, blah, blah. And it's unbelievable that this meme has just gone through the alternative media and mainstream media too, because I mean, God knows there's a shitload of news articles on the mainstream media as well.
So I have a question for the two of you then. Because Danny, you said distraction. Any ideas what you think they're distracting from? I mean, we know that they're trying to get from us, you think?
Yeah, they're trying to distract us from us.
Distract us from ourselves.
Yeah.
From going within?
Well, here's the other piece.
Go on.
The word AI has been programmed by society, by Hollywood. It is a programmed word. Everyone, you say AI, what do they think instantly? You have a preconceived notion that has been put into you through books, movies, TV shows, and the media.
I think of a conscious robot.
Well, and computer. And it's something that is a controlling thing. So if you take that, and now you take a meme, such as, let's say, AI is controlling the world. We're all under the control of AI now. People have already got a preconceived notion, which puts this thing on this faceless, nameless machine computer thing over here, which is
a savior meme sort of thing.
But almost in reverse, right? It almost gives you something to focus. You're focusing on this computer generated, but who's controlling the AI? Who built the AI? Now, let's say, hypothetically, that we're in a giant holodeck. Then yes, you know what? There is a computer out there that's, making the stars move across the sky, making the clouds show, making it rain, there's got to be a big computer that's running the whole thing. But that computer is just a computer. It's a computer that's probably, maybe it is an artificial intelligence, but it is still obviously someone built it. Somebody is controlling it. Someone is something, if that is what we're looking at. If you want to look at a purely external hypothesis, all this attention on AI takes all the attention away of what Lisa said, what's going on with us. Because now we blame everything. I've heard everything blamed on AI. Your dreams are AI. The reality is AI. The Mandela effect is all AI. Everything is now being blamed on artificial intelligence. So therefore, everyone's looking externally.
Question or observation, perhaps. Before AI, it was astral. Now, for me, Lily was the first one to come out and really make the definition and call it the astral and really make that kind of, that the astral's this and this is this. That it was as if the whole internet got on the bandwagon of calling it the astral and blaming everything on the astral and astral beings and astral whatever.
No, it started before that. Lily actually gave it an explanation form. She that was one of the things that I really loved when Lily discussed the context of it, we'll say. But Heather was all about the astral stuff. Heather was all about the astral stuff. GB, right? That was all astral. It was all what she qualified as astral, as an astral controller. The controllers, the financial controllers, all these places that we went to up in the tower.
What did she call them? The accountants,
the energy controllers, the energy, those guys. It was all an astral level thing, but she also talked about the levels too. Now, I don't mean going up into the tower and going to the various levels, to the highest level, the big white room, but the energy controllers, the various rooms in the tower that were representative of different astral levels. And that's really interesting.
Now,
I'm going to have to sit back and think about that for a while.
You remember Heather's response when I made contact, or when Lily made contact with me? Do you remember how weird that response was? And how protective her everything that she said was?
Mm-hmm.
That she even went public. She brought it up publicly before on one of the shows that we did with her. Before
we did the interview.
Mm-hmm. She was trying to do some predictive programming.
Preemptive.
And I was watching all of that play out at the time, and all it did was make me more curious to have the conversation with Lily to find out what the hell she had to say. Okay, tick, 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 tock, tock, tock. My brain is clicking over. My little brain is a little bit overworked.
So I guess, like, my question then, because someone in the chat room had said that, yes, it was all distraction. They actually directed it to me, but it's all distraction to keep us from figuring out, A, perhaps who we are, B, our own power, and C, if we don't remember who we are and that we have power, then they can try to draw us into their game on their terms this time around.
Yep.
And so that's the general consensus with you two ladies, and apparently with the chat room, that we are all, we need to be doing this internal work so that we can pay attention to that and only that. Is that what I'm getting from everyone?
I think everything that we're seeing in the world of technology, including Keshi, like I think I talked about this the other week, it's yet another external device that replicates what we can actually do with our bodies, right? It may be a tool to enhance those powers, but they would only be a stepping stone to actually getting past that and not being able to, not having to use anything external. I think we have the ability, our bodies generate enough power to power our houses, to power all of our devices. We can do it ourselves, but we keep looking for these external interfaces. All of this, I think we have the ability, and we're really, really close to potentially breaking through this veil and understanding who we are, understanding what our power is, understanding our true history, understanding and remembering all of it. So the distractions, we're getting more and more and more distractions, more and more bombarded with things to worry about, concern ourselves about, observe, talk about, whether it's terrorists, ISIS, World War III, aliens. I mean, the list is long of things that we can spend our time focus on And none of them
I've
are.
always heard of the galactic historian Andrew Bartsch, because that's exactly what he talks about there, Lisa, that we have those capabilities. That,
And God help them if we remember.
right, something in terms of the instructions to the body suit that we wear has been lost, something to that effect. But that we will be able to recover that information.
Yes. Um, the problem, and I'm kind of surprised I'm going to say this, for all of the talk out of certain individuals involved with the OPPT, for all of the talk of no hierarchy, there was some serious hypocrisy going on in terms of that.
Oh, yeah.
Do not worship me, which was predictive programming that was, I'm no better than you. We are
Don't put me on a pedestal. No, don't put me on a pedestal.
And now she's the one? Is that what I'm gathering?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the one in all caps with quotations.
Yeah, exactly. But
Don't
what
even
you
get-
saw, what you saw in day to day, you know, just day to day life was very much on a pedestal. And she wasn't the only one who did not walk the talk of no hierarchy.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And, you know, it's like, you know, that saying about protesteth too much.
Yes. She doth protest too much.
The ones who preach the loudest often were the biggest hypocrites. And these were things that, you know, just didn't sit well with me at all.
No.
But I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that continually. Actually.
We've seen that play out an awful lot, haven't we?
People who like to claim they don't do drama,
No, I don't do drama.
who are surrounded by it because they're constantly creating it. It's unreal. But there's something to be said for that. But I think it is. I think it's all just a huge distraction. We've got people who are genuinely terrified that we are on the brink of World War III. They
Yep.
don't understand that World War I never really finished.
No.
But you know, the prepper mentality, the prepper kind of meme has just exploded again over the last 6 months. Alex Jones must
Which I find kind of odd, since it did that in the last few months of 2012 as well.
yeah, exactly. We're back to that. Which does make you wonder whether there's that feeling of anticipation or expectation that something is going to go down or something is on its way. It's just, is it what we're being programmed and pre-programmed to expect? Probably not.
Jeff says reloop. I'm wondering. That's, again, that kind of made me think of Colin Hayter and his thing about the Gosford glyphs and the whole loop that they, you know, time loop that he said that the magician there put everyone in because of the death of Nefertiti, or not Nefertiti.
Yeah, I can never remember Khufu. For those who didn't watch that, I recommend you do, because it's an amazing story.
Oh yeah.
The archive will be on CCN. I think I've got it on my website as well.
It is. It's on both of the interviews with him that you've done are on your website, Lisa.
Okay, thanks for that. Letting me know what's on my website. That's awesome.
No, I'm sorry. It's just that that's where I found them originally.
That's because I forget. I'm saying thank you genuinely.
Colin Hayter's stuff was phenomenal. Like, he brought forward information that was just so. Our whole family, when you did the interview, was glued to the screen for the tug event on that one. We're like, oh, that's so
Well, in my opinion, Dr. Osmanovich was freaking fantastic as well, Danny. That was absolutely a phenomenal thing too, especially when you figure that his site has all been done by volunteers without any help from anyone and has been largely marginalized from jump and continues to be. So, yeah.
Elise, is there something you wanted to come out and share? I can unmute you if you do. For those who haven't seen it, I do suggest you do, but the synopsis is that a Egyptian king came here to Australia who was actually a female, and she died here. And because she died here, they couldn't do the normal ceremonies. You know, she's supposed to be back home. So the solution was to basically freeze time. They did a ceremony to freeze time until something could be figured out. Now, what has gone on over the last 6 to 12 months here in Australia is a reconciliation around all of that, because the descendants, of all of these people are starting to meet up and come back together. So something is going down, which may well have broken the spell, ended that spell, whatever the word is, I'm not sure. But you need to go and listen to it from Colin's words and interpretation. Yeah, there are lots of stories that everything started here in Australia, and they will start in Australia again. That where the first light hits, which is actually, well, technically New Zealand, I guess. New Zealand was in fact part of Australia. There is an area where they match up, and it broke.
And it all depends on what Mandela reality you're in, because in some places New Zealand is not there at the east, it's just south. It's south of Australia, and in some it's in the west.
That whatever that thing was on that globe, for those of you who didn't see it, the movie Dazed and Confused from the 80s, there's a scene where they're spinning the globe, and on that globe that they're spinning, there is no New Zealand, but there is a strange landmass on the western side of Australia that it's not New Zealand. It's not like they just put it in the wrong spot. It's a completely different shape, completely different, and it doesn't exist in my reality at all.
And Greenland is about that big, and it's like at the Arctic North Pole. That was the other thing on. That was the one that I picked out when they slowed down that globe spinning. It was like, oh, look at Greenland's not even as big as my thumb, and it's at the North Pole.
Hang on, the chat room's just lost me completely.
Okay, Elise, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I'm really sorry. She just made a comment because we were talking about World War III and blood sacrifice, massive blood sacrifice, and I commented back and said, yeah, but I'm starting to get a feeling that that's part of the distraction. And she just asked me to clarify that. Again, there's a lot of focus. It seems to kind of come in waves. Like we said, there's always kind of, as one theory or piece dies down, there's another one that comes in to take its place. And there's a lot of focus, again, on the black magic aspect. The Vatican, the Illuminati, the black magic, the blood sacrifices, et cetera, et cetera. And I am beginning to think that that is another part of the distraction. There's just something there that I have a problem with, and I can't tell you why. I don't know what it is. I can just say my gut is starting to say that it's part of the distraction. It's kind of like when you have certain people who go on and on and on about reptilians, and they keep showing, look, here's Queen Elizabeth, and look at her eyes, and oh, look, here's Obama, and look at the eyes, and they're reptilians, and they're going to shift into a reptile, and they're going to do this, and they're going to rip out your heart, and it's like, I'm sorry, that is a fucking distraction, because if you keep people looking at that, they're not looking at other stuff. And more and more of these things that I'm looking back, kind of like I said, question everything, right? All these things that have been kind of blanketed over the alternative media, and I'm starting to question all of it. Like, what is real? What is a distraction? What is just basic fucking bullshit? And so that's the whole thing with the blood, with the whole massive thing, all talk about blood magic, blood magic. It's all about spells. It's all about spelling and blood magic. And I'm sitting there going, there's more to it than this. And I think it's kind of like if you could say, for example, we set our intent and speak our intent to the universe, and the universe provides, whether it's, what do you want to call it, manifesting or whatever. That's truth. We know it. Most of us have tested that theory out and played with it, so we know. But then you convince people that it's spells, and it's all about the words. You have to use the right words. So you can't use, I do not consent, because the universe doesn't hear the word not. Well, I'm sorry, that's a crock of shit. I wrote that big article about all that last month or something. It's intent. But how do you distract people away from the intent and get people to focus? No, let's focus on the words. If you get people, don't focus on the intent, focus on the words. So if they sit there nitpicking over what words to use, i.e., okay, I want to say I do not consent, but how do I say I do not consent without using the word not? And then you go off on a 4-hour conversation with going, well, we could say, I would really rather choose to do something else instead of I do not consent, because then it's all positive, right? It's a distraction. It just, all of this stuff, I just keep looking at all these pieces and I keep coming back to it and going, it is a distraction. And all we have to do is narrow it down, it seems to me, my opinion. When you narrow it down to what we can do, what we are, what we do, and then look at the theories, look at the controls that are placed around that. So you can manifest, but you can only manifest if you use the right words. And if you use the wrong words, it won't work. And you can only manifest if you do it this way. And if you only, okay, now all of a sudden we've got religion, because now you're just making up fucking rules. Why don't we just play hockey instead? And seriously. And I keep looking at all the pieces and taking them back. Take it right back to the very barest. We are the creators. Okay, so then why are there all these rules around it? We are eternal beings. Okay, so why are all these rules around it? And now I'm trying to really look at and pinpoint these various rules that seem to have appeared somewhere along the line and say, okay, wait, why is there a rule? Why does the universe give a shit about whether you use the word no or not? Because no in another language means something completely different than it does in English. Does the universe actually have a universal translator and know what language you're speaking? Doesn't make sense. That's my little thing. I'll get off the soapbox.
I have a question for Jeff. He just wrote, oh my God, donkey, this is the script of Vampire Diaries. What is?
What is?
Do you and I, Dee, think that Heather was working directly with the Department of Defense?
Oh, I don't believe that. I don't know. I have a lot of theories. I've gone through a lot of different theories, which we've discussed on multiple shows in the past. Department of Defense? No, I don't think so. I don't know where that one came from, actually. I know there was a couple of people who were saying that, and I was like, okay, well, I don't really follow that one, but Jesuits? Yeah, very likely. But Department of Defense, I don't know. I have no proof of that anyways.
I'm sorry, aren't they the same thing?
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about when you start putting specifics on it, saying like, she was with MI5. Yeah, okay, really? Because, what, did you get a copy of her ID card? I don't know.
I'm just looking through the chat room.
I know they're going nuts.
You can add intent to any word. That's the point. Sure, absolutely.
Exactly.
I can tell somebody I love them and have them shake them in their boots because they know that's not what I mean.
Yep. And it's like I used to joke and say that a friend of mine had a pet whose name was Little Fucker. Now, people would say fucker is a terrible negative word. and it's got a terrible negative energy, yet we said it with pure love in our hearts because he was the cutest little thing on the face of the planet. I talked about, for me, one of the biggest ones was the music tests that were done by Dr. Emoto. And they said, when they played heavy metal, the crystals were terrible. And yet when they played beautiful symphonic classical music, the crystals were beautiful. And I said, but the one piece that they left out of the equation, and no one has addressed this in all those experiments, is the observer changes the outcome. So if the scientist who was playing the heavy metal actually hates heavy metal, then that is going to affect the outcome because he's hating it. But if the observer liked heavy metal, would the outcome be different? Because he actually really, really liked that Metallica song? And vice versa. The observer always affects the experiment. Quantum mechanics 101. So when we're talking about quantum level stuff, and anything you talk about with, manifesting the universe, whatever, you have to look at quantum mechanics. The observer always causes the outcome to be skewed.
It might actually be more than that. It might not. Well, what they say is that the observer has an influence over the event, but what if the observer is all there is to the event? What if it's nothing but, not just as minor influence?
Exactly.
Jeff, you're going to have to come out. I had to unmute yourself, love.
Unmute, dude. Get the over in here.
All right.
Hi, Jan.
What's your question?
Vampire Diaries. What was the reference exactly?
So True Blood, Vampire Diaries, and the originals are all vampire based, but really they're talking about the Dracos. And they're always kind of playing around with the Fae. And witches, and there's always time spells involved. So when you were saying the queen was frozen in time until something can be resolved, that's an arch in the Vampire Diaries.
Uh-huh.
So it's just interesting how those stupid little teeny bopper shows like Buffy.
Yay, Buffy! Sorry.
Yeah. And I just finally watched The Cabin in the Woods last night, who was created by the Buffy writer. And it's all tied together. Just interesting correlations.
I've forgotten his name. I can't believe I've forgotten his name.
Not Joss Whedon.
Yes.
Yeah, Joss Whedon. How can you forget Joss Whedon's name?
I don't know. It should be burned on my brain. I know, exactly.
Joss Whedon. Awesome. Also, the guy who's running the new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
True.
Sorry, I'm a Joss Whedon fan. I love his stuff.
Now, pawpaw. Put some pawpaw. Put some pawpaw on it. Oh, okay, sure. That's good too. Sorry. Mother Judy calls. Yes, I am.
Hi, Pee-Pee.
She's gone. Okay, sorry. There was a mention of Heather with the DOD. Apparently, Anna von Reitz came up with that information. She was on a call the other night and mentioned OPPT, apparently.
Oh. Well, that's interesting because Anna von Reitz is directly associated with the Vatican. Self-confessed. I'm sorry. I don't have the link anymore because that was on my old computer that crashed, but I had all the hard copies of the letter and the conversation that she had between someone. Okay, so everything that I've seen von Reitz do, okay. Actually, that just pops in. She mentioned OPPT. Did anyone watch it? I'd like to know what exactly she said because all of a sudden the wheels in my head are turning.
Yeah, who said it? Joseph. Did you actually listen to it? Oh, she didn't. Oh, yeah, she's the one who did the awesome legal filing last week. Now
Yeah.
it's up to the FBI to arrest President Obama and all the members of Congress.
Yeah, not going to happen.
Yeah, not going to happen. I don't think so either.
Here's the thing. Let's just play a little game of what if.
No, Crystal
What?
said it, though. Okay, go.
Heather,
I love
as,
it.
and I've already laid out this whole theory that I have about Heather and the Vatican versus the whole Texas camp and how that played out and how the filings all went out. And I'm not going to get into the whole conversation. So let's just say that Heather was following the Jesuit plan in whatever way, shape, or form. And now we've got a judge who's also using UCC filings, who's also now trying to force certain system changes, who is directly associated with the Vatican. This being after the Vatican, we have the ISO filings where they changed all the names of all the countries in preparation to what I think is in preparation for the bankruptcy of all the countries. And now Anna von Reitz comes out with this filing after that changeover. Yeah, I kind of see a bunch of dots there that are kind of interesting. I may have to go back and look at. Okay, I'm supposed to keep talking because Lisa's talking to someone else.
Sorry.
She had breaking news. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do Transpicuous News this week, guys. I have got such a list of news stories that I've been following all about the Middle East and Russia and what's going on with Turkey and all of that shit. And I don't know, the document is now, I'm going to publish it. I'm going to publish the document in just a mass drop. But the mess is so big and so deep and so tall, there's no way to clean it up. There's no way at all.
Mia just wrote, she read somewhere that the Pope resigned. I haven't seen that if he did.
I haven't seen it.
But if he did, and they pull what's his face out of hiding,
Da, 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 da.
they come back, that's...
Da, 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 da. Yeah, I know.
Because they've been living so much by those prophecies, I reckon they'd have to recycle him.
Jeff said that, no, that was an Onion article.
Oh, okay. Okay, we've only got a couple of minutes left. So, is there anybody who has any other comments they want to come out and share?
Questions? Comments?
Comments? Anything before we sign off?
Theories of insanity?
The soapbox.
Can I just say thank you to both of you ladies for entertaining all my questions and interruptions this evening. I've really enjoyed it and I appreciate it very much as your resident puzzle piece collector.
No problem, Sheila.
No, we appreciate the interaction. It's great.
Yeah, and other people can actually ask questions too. It's really, you guys all sitting out there chatting on their keyboards, but no one wants to speak up and actually, ask a question.
Nothing is external, says Noella. Yeah, I think everything is simply a representation of what's internal. That's it.
Oh, watch out for the distractions.
I like what Jan said out there, though, ladies. What's your thoughts on Facebook and LinkedIn and social contracts in that way?
I just don't.
See, I can answer that one. I wrote this thing called a declaration of notice, and I published it on Facebook. And it is my declaration of notice to Facebook and anyone else who wants to play that game. So they can go ahead and do whatever the fuck they want. I don't consent. I already told them that, so I'm not playing.
And I don't even feel the need to put anything in writing.
No, I just did.
I just can't, no matter how I try, muster a fuck at all. about it. And
In $2, we're not giving that day.
I know what again, this comes back to intent. I know what my intent is when I get onto those
Yep.
things. Mind you, Facebook is the only one I use. I've actually got a LinkedIn account and I get requests for connections all the time and I just press accept and I never go there. That's it.
I have never been, I do have one too, but I don't know how to get into it. I mean, that was like, I don't know, the year that they brought that out. I haven't been in there since then.
So Facebook's the only one I use. I know why I use it. I use it to have amazing conversations with people in the Unfuckers room. Not that I actually participate that much. What I do is I end up learning too much and going on tangents to even contribute. But I do that. I use it to share. I've got, the anti-vaccine group that are struggling with people in their lives. So anytime I come across something that's, anti-vaccine, I'll pass it on to them so that they can try and share it with the people who are giving them a hard time. It's about trying to just reach people. So that's my intent, and that's if they want to use anything I post against me, go for it. Good luck. I'm stepping more and more into that space of, if this is my game, you want to come play with me,
Yep.
and my rules.
Well, speaking of your game, are you going to bring collective imagination back at all, do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In the new year, in January.
Yeah, we were supposed to be taking a month off, remember, guys?
Yeah.
No, I remember. I do remember. I guess because because you guys are not with, the other plays anymore, I had to ask the question.
Yeah. No, we said we were taking December off, and we were actually quite serious about that. It just didn't work out that way.
No. Because then we thought, okay, well, that'll be cool. We'll have the month of December off from the show, so we'll just be able to have a call with our little core group of unfuckers. That'd be awesome, just for fun. But then it's turned into this. So we will actually have to have a couple of weeks off at some point.
At some point, we really do.
So because we've got a lot of work to do to get what we want ready for January.
Yes.
And there's a lot of work to be done there.
Yes, yes. All sorts of new stuff coming. All sorts of fun stuff coming.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you nothing else.
So we should go. It's been a couple of hours. Thank you guys so much. I really do like this environment. It feels like, oh, look at you. It does all feel like we're in the same room, which is lovely.
You need to go to bed. It's nighttime.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah, I know.
What is it in the
Take a picture.
Oh god.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't been utilized yet because last week's show, or discussion, whatever you want to call this thing, hasn't been processed through post-production yet due to storms and crazy weather and power outages and internet outages and all sorts of things. So it will be, and they will be utilized.
At some point.
Yeah.
You need to earn yours, Lisa.
I know I earned mine last week, but
See, mine's not ironed, it's just stretched really tight.
Another great conversation. Thank you very much for everybody who participated. Chat room,
Yep.
locally, whatever it was.
Absolutely.
What's next Tuesday?
I don't know. Next Tuesday? Really?
It's
You
pretty
mean
close.
Monday? You mean Monday, right?
Second, 21st.
Monday the 21st?
Should we do that last one before and then have a couple of weeks off?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. One more for the year and then we will take a break.
Yep.
So we'll see you next week.
Yes. And I'll, I don't know, maybe I'll come and I'll wear like some new hair or something.
And if everybody could remember to please join the conversation, especially if you're late, with your cameras off and microphones off. Thank you. Okay, Talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, you Afro hippie. See ya. Hello and welcome to the One People Show.